Hello again, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani here with you once again. And today we are being joined by a man that I've wanted to talk to for quite some time now. We haven't heard from him in a bit. He's the one and only El Cucuy, Tony Ferguson, kind enough to join us. Tony, how are you?
What's good, man? How's everybody doing?
Everyone's doing great. It's great to hear from you. I'm very excited to talk to you. We haven't heard much from you as far as media is concerned since we last saw you in action back in May. Have you just been taking some time off, keeping to yourself, doing your thing? Is that why you wanted a little time out of the spotlight?
I really never even been in the spotlight, so I'm kind of like, it's this whole everything has just been the actual regular norm, man. As soon as I got out of the fight, I went to the academy. I looked at my fight. Obviously, I was pissed off. You know what I mean? I had to soak everything in. I usually give myself a day to get back. You know what I mean? To like get back mentally and focus, but it took a little bit more time. I hadn't lost in what 8 years, Ariel. I mean, like literally 12 fights. I mean, what do you think? You know what I mean? So yeah, I listened to my boxing coach, and I really did. I took some time off, man, and it was really good. I got to spend a lot of time with my family. Got to go to Big Bear a lot. Got to go out, spend a lot of time with my boy, my pups, my wife, and everybody, and really think about what my future entitled,
Uh,
and try to put everything behind it, man, because I really wasn't happy with that fight. I enjoyed getting hit, but I can't let it happen again. I heard a couple people and their kids were crying, you know what I mean, afterwards. And I was kind of selfish of me just to go into that fight and not really fight the way that I should have. So, I mean, a lot has happened since then, man.
okay. And there's many things I want to ask you about the fight, but first off, physically, obviously you were a little banged up afterwards. How are you feeling? And did you need to get any kind of surgery afterwards?
No surgeries. I found out possibly that I did probably break my right toe on my right foot, but nah, man, it was kind of a funny story because you saw I was dancing afterwards, right?
Yeah.
In the next day. So the doctor had told me in the emergency room, he's like, if we don't get this swelling taken down, we're gonna have to operate. And I was like, nobody trying to operate on me. So immediately I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, I gotta start trying to like getting the swelling down immediately. So I was hooked up to like these monitors and stuff like that, and they were measuring my heart rate. And I'm trying to take a nap, and I couldn't take a nap because like it would get to a certain heart rate, and it would beep beep beep, and I'd wake up. And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do then? So I started rubbing my leg and trying to get the swelling down. I started walking around, hurt like a, but it was good, man. It was just like, all right, I got to get out of this. Like I don't want to be here. So obviously I didn't want to get surgery either. So it was just cool, man. It was like a process, but I mean, when I was dancing, it was like cool because they were like, "Yo, you guys have like probably like if everything goes well and your level is low, you can get out of here in probably like 40 minutes."
Wow. What about the
And I was like,
face?
"Oh, the face was cool, man. I've taken a couple of hits before. You know, my pops used to tell me, quit using your face as a hand mitt." So, I mean, like I said, dude, I enjoy getting hit, but like I don't want to take damage like that anymore. Like as far as even preparations and as far as I mean, I've even and let me slow down a little bit. I went back to my academy. I made a lot of adjustments. I've been doing a lot of business as far as like my sponsors and making sure that everything's up to par. So I, from the time of the fight until now, Ariel, I'm gonna tell you, I've shed so much different stuff that I probably didn't need in my life.
Hmm.
That was probably weighing me down, and it's been a blessing, dude. Like I've added in a couple new practice partners and some trainers and just some like new thoughts and how I'm going to approach like my overall game again. And I'm really back to my old school roots where I thought I was, but I wasn't. And having fun again, with the COVID and everything that was going on and the two weight cuts. And I had fun with the weight cut. If I took anything out of like the whole entire experience out of this last fight, it was making weight when nobody else could or wanted to. And it was hard. Like I started at probably 180 on Sunday night, and I got all the way down to 55 on that Friday morning, and that was such a huge victory for me. Like not a lot of people understand that. And then with the component switches and then the COVID and then trying to bring sports back and then trying to put my part in, and Justin trying to do his, it was just a lot of pressure, man. It was kind of a crazy one, where it turned into a job rather than having fun with it anymore. The music didn't sound right to me anymore, and there was a lot of things that just didn't feel right. But I was like, you know what? It's time to put the boots on. I'm trying to let's back out there. Let's do this. And that's what this fight kind of emulated. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't fun, but I did it, and I made sure that I had made it look like I had fun. but I didn't want to hurt Gaethje. Like, this is supposed to be like that time, and like when me and Gaethje are supposed to pull together and be like friends in the COVID and everything else that's going on in the world. So in my head, it was kind of a difficult one. It was a really, because I don't like to hurt people, Ariel. I would be real with you. I'm in the hurt game, but it's either us and them, right? And I've had these conversations with a lot of my trainers because it's crazy. A lot of things can go outside of that world, but it's as real as it gets inside that octagon, man. And you got to be ready physically and mentally and emotionally. And I was ready for all of that. And like I said, Gaethje was a better man that night. But I would like to have a much better approach towards my next camp and have it right, that I can possibly do it the right way. And you can't really prepare for any right or wrong way. But and as far as on my part, I can do a lot of different things better. That's for sure.
I appreciate that honesty very much. I'm just curious. You said something that caught my attention. You said you shed a lot of weight since the fight in May. What do you mean by that?
Well, because Khabib and I had a lot of you know what I mean? There was a lot invested into that fight. So when you had a lot of investment into that fight and there was a lot of emotions and wanting to get this done and then trying to shed that and then, you know what I mean? Trying to get interested for another opponent. I mean, thinking about his striking even, I mean, not even talking about technique-wise and what we prepared for and not even brushing up on that. This is just a completely different thing. So, I mean, to go from one extreme to another and then just keep on piling them up like that. I mean, literally, we went out there, we put on a hell of a show. That's what I'm trying to get at. But what I really want to do is put on an even better show. And the hard part is we don't have fans there. The whole fan experience isn't there anymore. And I could probably be talking for a lot of fighters, man. I mean, it's a lot different. Fight or flight doesn't matter, but it's just the feel is a little bit different. You see how in baseball they started adding in all the fans and all the cutouts and pictures and then the music and everything. UFC, we don't have that. We don't need that kind of. You know what I mean? We focus, we get in there and we do what we got to do. Not putting down on any other sports and anything like that. But I stand up for my country and it's a little bit different.
Have you rewatched the fight from start to finish?
Oh, of course, a couple times. It's
and
actually
what sticks out?
What sticks out? It wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't flashy. It was boring. I mean, it was like fighting one of my own teammates. It was kind of it was just kind of one of those extreme situations that shouldn't have happened. How it went down. How about that? It did how it did, and you can't change that. Like I said, Justin was a better man that night, but in my preparations and my abilities and what I know as far as I'm able to do in that cage, it shouldn't have went down that way. So, I mean, like I said, props and stuff to Justin. I can't take that away from him. So I can't talk on that. But I know myself as a fighter and as a human and as a person when I'm on point, for sure. And I'm sharper than that.
I wondered after the fight if the fact that there were no fans, you get up and you put on a show when there's 18,000 people at T-Mobile, and I feel like you take it to another level. And sometimes he gets too crazy when there are fans there. And I wondered if after the fact he benefited from the fact that there were no fans, and maybe it hurt you that it almost felt flat throughout. Do you think there's some truth to that theory?
No, I don't even know what you said, but I'll be real. Look, check this out. When you get to a certain point in your career, right? It's kind of like you're fighting on the undercards, and you're like, okay, you get to the main events, and then you're like, oh man, you want to get those sponsors, and you get all the sponsors, and then boom, changes, and you don't have sponsors. It's like you get to these certain points, and you get, I want to get to Hall of Fame, and then all of a sudden there's no more noise, and you go out there and you fight, and you're kind of like, whoa, a little bit different. So it's not for me. I'm able to adjust on the fly. I feel bad for a lot of these up-and-coming fighters that just got their pro license, or they're looking for fights and they don't know what to do, or these college athletes that are looking for places to do. They don't know what's going on with their future or how they're going to get picked into the draft, or there's a lot of what ifs, right? And it's a crazy one. I feel for those guys, man. I mean, a lot of us veterans, we can adjust on the fly like how we have with this stuff. We're able to change with it because of experience. But that's us plowing the road for these younger generations to come through and, eventually take the torch. But for me, that ain't anytime soon. So they're out there writing me out saying, yo, you need to retire right now? You guys.
Did he do anything that surprised you?
Who, Gaethje?
Yeah.
I mean, his striking was a little bit better than I thought. I'll be real. I mean, we prepared for a grappler. I mean, seriously. So I was about to twist up Khabib. I mean, I'm not talking to Khabib, but you know what I mean? We were really prepared for that, dude. And like I said, Justin's boxing was a little bit better than we thought, anticipated. And like I said, man, he had a better night. I didn't go on as flashy with my elbows and kicks and all the other tools that I have in my repertoire. It was just off tempo, man. What are you gonna do?
You seem to handle all like the drama, the opponent switch, all that very well. Like I remember that month, you were the most talked about person in our sport. But in hindsight, would you agree that like going from this bitter feud with Khabib and the 5 times and all that stuff to a guy that you seem to respect and have, some mutual admiration for, it's a tough thing to go, go from one guy to the other in a span of like 2.5 weeks, right?
I'm an athlete. I played 3 different sports at top level. Even in college, I play at top level, and you get it happens anytime, anywhere. Sometimes it just happens, and you have to be able to adjust. That diversity, you have to be able to channel that into that's where I can say the diversity into creativity. You have to be able to channel that and not like I don't know. It's like it's useful energy, man. Like you just can't. I don't know, it's hard to explain, Ariel. Like I don't know. Like when it comes down to this game. I can't explain. What was the question you said again?
Well, I was just curious because like you have this history with Khabib, right? And you have this rivalry with him, but with Gaethje, you don't have that. So I was just wondering if in hindsight, looking back, you were like, man, to go, it's almost like a letdown, right? You go from this big fight, and then you go
No,
to,
man. I think for anybody else, I mean, look, I had a 12-fight win streak. I mean, when you've seen those memes where like the last time Tony lost, women weren't even fighting in MMA, and then Kamaru Usman and everybody else didn't have any pro fights, and so on and so forth. It's funny, yeah, that's just true. You know what I mean? Like I'm a Billy Badass. I do that stuff, but like when it comes down to losing, I lose like a man. Like, and I didn't get knocked out. For me to tell Justin Gaethje hits like to be something else, be kind of funny because he didn't knock me down or knock me out. But that's a joke about it. Like I don't have anything against Justin. Like that's the funny part. Like against like Khabib and McGregor, when we had our little saga thing going on, it was pretty cool, man. McNugget Monday, Tiramisu Tuesday. That shit was funny. But we get to a certain point, you know what I mean, where in life you kind of grow up and you still kind of keep some things, but then you start making fun of the things that you used to make fun of. You kind of just make a part of that. And right now, like I don't have to hate somebody to fight them. This is a competition. Especially with that place being quiet. You're not getting booed. You're not getting anything. You're not getting vibes from nobody. It's just your own vibe and your cornerman and everybody else. So, I mean, even the commentators, they started watching what they say now because they know you can hear them.
right.
It's funny talking.
By the way, in the aftermath, since, like it had been 8 years that week since your last loss, how did you deal with the loss? Like finally feeling that again? What was that like for you?
Say that one more time.
The aftermath, dealing with the loss for the first time in 8 years, the 12-fight winning streak coming to an end. Emotionally, how did you deal with it when you got back home?
I was thankful. Like, I'll be real. Like, it's like there's no more hype. Like, everybody else can have so much hype behind it. I mean, I've had, like, some win streaks that you don't even know in wrestling, football. In football, we were, like, 27-1. We won state. So, I mean, like, I can count on my hand in high school wrestling how many times I've lost in 2 hands. So, I mean, like, win streaks don't matter to me. They really don't. Like, if I was really big on win streaks and everything else like that, then I would be, like, some arrogant asshole, like, just who I'm not. I just don't care about that kind of. For me, it's always about bettering myself to the next time or trying to get to that level where I can picture it in my head, but I will never get to that level. It's fucked up, dude. I'm always throwing salt in any of my wounds, which is like my game. I call it my game. I'm always throwing salt in my game. The one thing you'll never see me do is taking a knee in my academy. You'll never see me sitting on my ass or taking a knee because I say air is up. I'm always moving. How's your cardio so good? Because I'm moving around. I'm working. I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. I'm not worried about scratching my nuts, looking at TV and, being in the academy. No, I'm by myself, busting my ass, moving, doing my own, constructing everything, doing it the way that I was taught. I'm taught to be an athlete, to be at an elite level, to be able to adjust on fly, win or lose. If you lose, you have to make the adjustments. You win, you make the adjustments. You worry about those win streaks. That's when you start, like I said, you start floating up in the clouds, and then boom, eventually you're going to hit something and pop, there you go. That's going to be a hard fall all the way down. You stay level headed and you make sure you don't count. I mean, you can count the wins. I count the losses, dude. Like, I'm not worried about the wins. I lose track of how many fights I even have. I know how many losses I have. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different for everybody. So I think that there was a lot more people hurt. I mean, my fans, you know, were hurt. I mean, I feel for it. But for me, I hadn't felt this way in a long time, like a love for the game again, Ariel. Now, if you're an athlete like me, like you've played so many sports and so many hours in this game where you can get burnt out and you can just be like, boom, and just like not want to do this no more. Like it doesn't become interesting. Or you get in a fight like that, that's like a 4 to 5 rounder, and you like get so close where you can almost knock the dude out with a one uppercut. And you go back and you watch film and you're like, man, that wasn't me fighting. I should do something different. And then you start to enjoy the game again. And you start to like have like not a reset, but like a whole different meaning to it, because now you have a different approach, because the one that you took didn't work. This is my new approach. This is my new life. This is my choice to do things my way, more efficient and more green and much better. Not for everybody anymore. I've always been doing so much for everybody, and then instead of my small circle. And that's been the biggest pain in the ass. And I needed a fight like that to see my wife right by my side. Dude, like when, you know what I mean? Like right there. And my kid, dude, like seeing me like, you know, hey, throw a thumbs up, and boom, him putting like a fist towards his face. You know, like when I'm sitting next to him, when I'm all busted up and stitched, I'm like, I don't want to see that no more. Now, you know me already. And when I say something, I do it. So that's where I'm at as far as my passion goes. I'm into the training. I love it again. I'm enjoying. I got a new fight shoe line, a wrestling shoe that I'm about to release with one of my buddies, Tanner. I got my sponsors that I'm really, really thankful for riding with me through this whole entire process, through the beginning to this part. Like I'm standing in my academy right now, and I built this place from the ground up with my bare hands, and I love it.
So here we are 2.5 months later. Are you starting to think about returning? Do you want to fight again this year? How do you feel?
Absolutely. Sign me up. I'm ready. I'm good to go. I'm ready for, man, like I'm getting rid of my cage that's right here. I'm making more room for just more stuff in here. Just like I'm making good adjustments, my business and everything, as far as, you know, I'm with Vayner Sports now. I'm not with Belangi Group anymore, which is nice. You know, I'm with my agent, Lloyd. He's awesome. You know, we're riding together, man, for this whole entire ride. And I'm just anxious for the future, dude. I really am. And they know how hungry and eager I am in the UFC. So I'm just willing to see where this goes, man, and sign me up.
Has the UFC offered you anyone yet?
I don't know, man. We'll see, dude. I got to get off the phone with you and talk to Lloyd, man. So I got to go to the Performance Institute and start getting my strength and conditioning up. So you might see me in Vegas a little bit more.
Could I ask, do you have a preference? Who's next?
You know who I want. Give me the rematch, or give me a rematch, or give me the winner of Khabib and Gaethje.
Rematch with who? With Gaethje?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but they announced today that Khabib is fighting Gaethje on October 24th.
Well, then why are you asking me who I want?
Well, I thought maybe there could be someone, Connor, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Obviously, you know the fights that make sense. Those are the ones I want to fight. Those are the top quality fights that we want to see. I don't want to waste any fights. I mean, like, I don't call them wasted fights. But like, to me and my value and where I've come up to and what I believe what the fans deserve are good fights. You know, you don't have to call them super fights or anything else like that. But dude, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to go in there and fight a tomato can. And not anybody in the UFC is a tomato can, by the way. Not one. So, I mean, fans and everybody else, it's easy to be in the back seat or on the couch to say a lot of stuff, but have some respect for my fellow UFC fighters. Don't call them tomato cans.
Can I tell you the two that I think make most sense for you, or that are the biggest for you?
What's up?
Connor or Dustin Poirier, who's looked good as of late. What do you think of those two?
They're both decent fighters, man. I mean, they're both good. I mean, we're all elite in top 5 for a reason. I can't on that one. So as far as fights go, if Connor wants to fight, I'm down for that. I'd love to fight a southpaw. I do really well. Knocked out Aaron Riley's jaw on that one on accident. So, I mean, when it comes down to me fighting stand-up, you got to remember when I fought Edson Barboza. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot different. This mix and matching kind of like that, if it does happen again, cool, man. I'm already used to it. Doesn't matter. Opponent switches, COVID, anything else wants to pop up, let's go. We're used to it now. You want to give me Conor, you give me Conor. You want to give me Poirier, we'll make it happen. Then we'll fight, and then we'll fight for the winner of the Gaethje and Khabib fight.
That was just what I was going to ask you. Do you feel, and I think most people would agree, that you fight one more time and then you should fight the winner, considering everything that you did and that you still haven't gotten that fight against Khabib or whatever, that it's just one fight, and then if you win that one, you're back in a title fight?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, literally, I got to meet up with the brass, you know what I mean, and talk to them. And I hope they had a good trip to the fight island, which sounds awesome. So I don't even know where they're going to fight. Do you know where Gaethje and Khabib's going to fight?
They said TBD. It's probably Las Vegas or Abu Dhabi.
I don't know, man. But it'd be nice to be on that card, right?
It would, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that would be great. Are you still holding out hope that you and Khabib fight at some point?
No.
Is this something you care about?
If it's in God's will, then it is. I'm not trying to push anything. You know what I mean? Anytime we've ever fought, it's always happened something different. But you know, if they throw it, I wouldn't be objected to it. I would love to see the fight. I'm not gonna tell you we want to be on Chaelstone and submission underground. Be like, yo, Khabib, we're gonna throw a submission fight. No, but in reality, yeah, I would love to compete against the dude. I mean, no animosity anymore. We kind of squashed a lot of, you know, the potatoes for that. But like, yeah, I would love to compete against. Like, I'll be real. It would be able to compete against. It would be Khabib, Poirier, McGregor. Those are the three right there. Why? Talent-wise. That's why. Not because of any other ways or means. Because of the talent and the athletic respect that I have for their talent that they have in the sport.
And I thought it was really nice of you to send your condolences to him after the passing of his father, despite everything that's happened between you guys over the years.
Yeah, right on. I mean, you can't. I won't embellish too much on that one, but yeah, respect to that. I know how much that guy meant to him. So yeah.
Okay. Tony, you're always gracious. Thank you very much. So for the fans, it's possible you want to return this year, maybe on that October 24th card. You are coming back, right? You're not done.
No, man, I'm at the academy. I'm about to train right now. So hopefully we get some good news either this week or next week, and we get something signed so we can get on that damn card. So yeah, expect me back this year, man. I really hope so. So we'll keep in touch. We'll make sure that we keep it good for you guys. So stay in tune.
Thank you, Tony. All the best.
All right, stay up, guys.
All right.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.